Have you ever had that awkward moment where someone asks you what you do for fun, and your brain just completely flatlines? You're sitting there thinking, do I even have hobbies? Do I actually have a personality? Or am I just a collection of various streaming service subscriptions and snacks? It's a weirdly stressful feeling, like you're a background character in your own life. But what if I told you that building a personality is actually as easy as playing a game? Most people think being interesting is something you're born with, or that you need to go on some wild, soul-searching trek through the mountains to find yourself. Honestly, that's just not true. I'm so glad you're still here. If you've watched this far, I know this is something you've been thinking about for a while. That's awesome, because the next few minutes are where it gets really interesting. I've got some new insights coming up that might just change how you look at this entirely. Stay tuned, because I have a feeling you're going to want to take some serious action once you see the full video. Think back to when you were 5 or 6 years old. Back then, having a personality was the easiest thing in the world. You didn't have to try. You were just the kid who loved dinosaurs, or the one who knew every single fact about space. Or maybe you were the undisputed champion of the playground swings. If an adult talked to you for 2 minutes, they walked away thinking, wow, that kid really loves dinosaurs or space. You had these clear, simple traits that made you stand out. You were defined by what you liked, and you weren't afraid to lead with it. But somewhere along the way to becoming an adult, things got complicated. We started worrying about being cool or normal, and in that process, a lot of us accidentally sanded down all our interesting edges. Now, when someone asks about our interests, we give these vague, safe answers like, "Oh, I just like hanging out," or "I watch a lot of movies." It feels boring because it is boring. We've been fed this advice to just be yourself. But let's be honest, that's kind of useless advice for most of us. It's like telling someone to just be athletic to win a race. If you're an introvert, you can't just turn on a switch and become a social wizard. And searching Google for how to have a personality just leads you to weird personality tests or ads for pottery classes you'll never actually attend. If you look at the most memorable people you know, they usually have a few very specific things associated with them. Think about a famous tech mogul or a pop star. You can probably name 3 things they are known for instantly. That's all a personality really is. It's having clear, memorable traits that people can latch onto. It doesn't mean you have to be the loudest person in the room. It just means you need a spike. The spike method is a secret that high-level students use to get into top-tier universities. Instead of trying to be well-rounded and okay at everything, they pick one very specific thing and become absolutely obsessed with it. They become the spike. This works for your social life, too. Let's take something totally random, like cleaning. On the surface, cleaning sounds like a chore, right? But imagine you decide to dive deep into it. You learn the best methods. You read up on the history of soap. You watch satisfying power washing videos. And you learn how to fold a shirt in 2 seconds flat. In about a month of just being curious, you will know more about cleaning than 99% of the people on the planet. Suddenly, you aren't just some guy anymore. You're the cleaning expert. When someone asks what you've been up to, instead of saying, "Not much," you can say, "I actually just learned how to blast the gunk off a driveway with a pressure washer. It's weirdly therapeutic." Suddenly, people are interested. They're asking questions. You've given them a hook to hang a conversation on. You can swap cleaning out for literally anything. It could be competitive knitting, the history of 90s arcade games, or how to grow the perfect tomato. It doesn't matter how niche or weird it is. In fact, the weirder it is, the better it works as a spike because it sticks out in people's minds. The mistake people make is thinking they have to talk about their spike all the time. You don't. Your spike is just the foot in the door. It gets people to stop and listen to you. Once you've established that you're an interesting person who knows stuff, you can transition into a totally normal conversation about anything else. So, how do you actually do this? It's a dead simple 3-step process. First, find something that actually sparks a little bit of curiosity in you, no matter how small. Second, go down the rabbit hole. Spend a few weeks learning just enough so that you know more than the average person. Third, when you meet people, don't be afraid to mention it. That's it. There isn't even a step 4. Now, there is one big rule you have to follow if you want this to work. You have to talk about your interest in a way that other people can actually understand. If your spike is Minecraft, that's awesome. But if you start rambling about redstone repeaters and chunk loading to someone who has never played the game, their eyes are going to glaze over immediately. They'll think you're smart, sure, but they'll also think you're a bit of a robot. The key is to explain the why and the how in plain English. Tell them why you got into it, what the goal is, and then share the cool, impressive part. Think about how a good science communicator explains a complex topic. They don't use big words to sound smart. They use simple stories to make you feel smart for understanding it. If you can make a complex or niche hobby sound interesting and accessible, people will stay focused on you for as long as you want to talk. The reason why well-rounded people are often forgotten is that they don't have any sharp points for people to remember. They're like a smooth circle. There's nowhere to grab onto. But a spike sticks out. It makes you memorable. It makes you the person who knows everything about X. Building a personality isn't about changing your soul or becoming an extrovert overnight. It's just about being brave enough to be a little bit obsessed with something and then sharing that excitement with the world. It's about returning to that dinosaur kid energy from kindergarten, but with the vocabulary of an adult. So, go out there, find your weird little niche, and stop worrying about being boring. You're already more interesting than you think. You just need to give people a reason to notice. And hey, if you found this helpful, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It's a small thing, but it helps me keep making these for you. Catch you in the next one.